Hello there, people of the internet. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing alright, thanks for asking. So, this video, of course, like many of my other videos, comes from me having a conversation with a buddy of mine. Things are escalating, politically speaking, and around the world, we got some stuff going down, and me and my friend were talking, and I mean, this is a buddy of mine who is also into the idea of survivalist in the end of the world situations. And me and him were talking about what exactly we were going to do. Now, I already know exactly what I'm doing. I already know exactly where I'm going, how I'm getting there, how long I'm going to be there, how I'll be able to be there for X amount of time. I know exactly what to do once I get there. I know exactly the spots to be to where I have the best defensive capabilities. I know exactly who I'm going with. I know exactly the setup. I got the medical situation, I got communications, I got the food, I got everything I need to actively be there. And whenever we were talking, I was, discussing with the guy, he asked me, you have so many different firearms, how are you going to manage to bring all of those with you to where it is that you're going? And I said to the guy, well, I'm not going to bring all of them. Most of them I'm going to hide. I know exactly how and where I'm going to hide them for just in case purposes. But I'm going to bring two of them with me, my AR and my AK for obvious purposes. Defensive, game gathering, survivalist. I have a lot of ammunition for both of them, and they will both be able to run for a very, very long time. Those right there would be like the two rifles that I would bring with me. I would also bring a 12-gauge shotgun. Whenever it comes down to it, I'd bring 5 different firearms, but I'd bring AR, AK, just because I have a tremendous amount of ammunition for each of them. Well, not a tremendous amount, but more than enough than all of my other firearms by a wide margin. But I'd also bring 12-gauge shotgun, and I'd also bring a handgun, just because you cannot, at all 100% times, have your rifle with you for defensive purposes. You're going to have an instant where you have your rifle leaned against a tree or on the ground while you're doing something. You need 2 hands to lift something or cut something or cook something or prepare something, or 2 hands to do something. And perhaps you're doing something that requires, maneuvering and whatnot, having the rifle on a sling, on your chest, on your back, wherever it is that you're on, whatever it is you're doing. You're not going to have your rifle on you 100% of the time. That's where having a sidearm comes in handy, because you will have a sidearm on you. You can have a sidearm on you 100% of the time, and it will not impeding everything. So I will have some sort of handgun with me. But as I was looking over my firearms and looking at my ammunition, especially thanks to a buddy of mine, I do not have an insignificant amount of 7.62 by 54 rimmed ammunition. So whenever I was thinking about this, and this was like things are escalating, and it's looking like it is a possibility that things might escalate to the point to where SHTF is a legitimate thing. And as I was looking at this equipment, and I was like, this is exactly what I'm doing, it began to dawn on me, this is what I'm doing. And as I was looking over my ammunition, I saw my pretty good stockpile of 54 rimmed. And I was thinking to myself, I'm sorry, I have the hiccups here. I was thinking to myself, why don't I bring a Mosin with me? Yeah, it would be a little bit more to carry whenever I go to this one location that I'm going to. It wouldn't be too tremendously difficult to pull off. I figured that I'd go ahead and bring a Mosin with me, just because I have a lot of ammunition with it. And then I started thinking, in the event that I am out in, survivalist situation for a good amount of time, and there's a possibility that it could be a good amount of time, like several years worth, then having a Mosin Nagant with me would actually be a very, very, very good option. Hear me out on this one. With where I'll be, taking game and surviving is going to be way, way, way more predominant than actually defending myself against other people, just because of the location that I'm going to be at. There's going to be nobody else around. My thought process is that I would have a rifle for defensive purposes, and I do not want to use the defensive rifle which I would use to save my life to take game. I would not want to use my defensive ammunition to keep myself fed. That is where the Mosin Nagant would come in. This right here would be the survivalist rifle. This right here is my finished refurbished 1891 pattern. I would not bring this one, but this is the one that I brought out here for this video. I'd probably bring my sporterized Mosin Nagant just because it's a lot smaller, a lot lighter weight, triggers a lot better, etc., etc., but it sucks to shoot. That's why I brought this one out, because the concussive blast on this longer barrel isn't as bad, but this will still serve for representative purposes. But having a Mosin Nagant for game gathering, and then having your AR and your AK for actual defensive purposes. You don't want to burn your defensive ammo on gathering game. You've also got to take into consideration that the AR and the AK are both semi-automatic platforms. This right here is a bolt action platform. Bolt actions are pretty damn hard to kill. The only way to really kill them is if you have some sort of significant parts breakage, or you get some mud or crap or something inside of the locking lugs. That right there will of course stop your rifle. But bolt action rifles can be used with black powder. Black powder is quite easily, quite easy to make, especially up here in North Florida where sulfur is pretty predominant. Potassium nitrate you can very easily get your hands on if you know how to make it, and some sort of carbon, you would typically use like the black from the black soot and whatnot from ash and whatnot to go ahead and use your carbon. Mix that all together in specific ratios that I'm not going to name for internet purposes, but you mix all that together, you have black powder. I'm not going to tell you guys how to make primers, but you can use match heads and little match scrapings from the side of the box that you use to strike your matches. That's one way. You can use like priming compound from cap guns. There's 4 or 5 different ways I know how to make primers. So we have black powder, we got the primers, and I have a cast mold that I can use to make my own 54 rimmed projectiles. So I could inevitably have an unlimited amount of ammunition with these cartridges. Black powder does not stretch brass nearly as much as smokeless powder does, so you can get a lot more uses out of your brass with a black powder than you would with smokeless powder. Hanging a bolt action rifle, you will not have any fundamental mechanical issues with it as you would out of a semi-automatic rifle. There's a reason that during the black powder era there were no semi-automatics. Black powder fouling just gums up the system of semi-automatics and makes it to where they cannot work. So although you can run an AK-47 or an AR-15, although you could load the cartridges with black powder, they would not be very efficient and they would jam up very, very quickly, as opposed to a bolt action rifle which you manually cycle yourself. And in a situation where I'm out there for several years surviving, just the idea of having a bunch of ammo for this rifle, having a separate game gathering rifle that is different than my defensive rifle, so I'm not burning defensive ammunition on it. There's just a couple of good reasons as to why I think bringing a Mosin Nagant would be a very, very good option, especially if you can make your own ammunition for this like I can. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Mosin Nagant by all means. Whatever rifle it is that you have, if it is a bolt action rifle or some sort of manually operated rifle, I mean lever action, pump action, whatever it is that you have, single shot, your caliber of choice, your rifle of choice, etc., whatever it is that you have to run, go ahead and run that. But I think this right here brings out some really, really good points. If you're going to go running around with an AR and 1,000 rounds of ammo and take it to wherever it is that you're going to go and set down, don't burn that 1,000 rounds gathering squirrels and pigs and foxes and things like that. Bring yourself some sort of secondary firearm. It will also come in handy if your primary firearm goes down. Now, if you have to walk a good distance to get to where it is that you're going to go, then maybe carrying like 5 guns with you probably isn't the best. In my particular case, I'm going to be in a vehicle, drive up right exactly where it is that I'm going to go. I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly how to get there. I'll be able to stick a Mosin in the vehicle with me to go where it is that I'm going. I'm sure that somebody in the comments is going to share their opinions on this right here. I think that with the thoughts and the arguments that I've made so far, the Mosin Nagant is definitely, absolutely a viable SHTF rifle. If you are rocking multiple rifles, I would not use it as a primary rifle by any stretch of the imagination, but it would make a fantastic game rifle, especially if you are in a place like I am, with deer running around, and boar, and pigs, and panthers, and coyotes, and there's quite a bit running around here that the 54 rimmed will be more than adequate, more than powerful enough to take down. And if you are a decent shot, and you have yourself a full power rifle, you can touch out to way further distances, use it as like a DMR platform or a sniper platform if you have the capabilities to pull something like that off. To touch out to further distances beyond like 500, 600, 700 yards that your AR platform would be basically maxed out at, your AK platform maxed out at like 400. If you have something beyond that distance and you have yourself a full power rifle that is able to touch out to those distances, that's definitely a massive, massive perk, especially if you're in a place like I am and there's just open fields absolutely all over the place. Like, I could see probably about 500 yards in every direction except for this direction because there's a bunch of woods there. But AR would be more than adequate at handling the distances that I'm at. But if this tree line wasn't here, then I'd be seeing out way farther than just 500 yards. So a full power rifle, for me, preferably with an optic, would definitely be a good way to go. All right, now I'm out here. 54 rimmed. I'm just going to launch some lead downrange. This Mosin does not have a rear sight on it, which is one of the main reasons why I would never ever bring this Mosin out to a SHTF situation. But it is by far the most delightful Mosin I have to shoot, and I can make hits on target just fine even without the rear sights on this thing. Oh mama. It is a delightfully smooth Mosin. The finish, whenever they went through and refurbished this rifle, they did a fantastic job polishing it up, but I will say that the trigger absolutely sucks on this thing. But hey, at least it's still semi-accurate even without sights. You know what? Let's walk back that way real quick. All right, we're out over in this area pretty much just for fun. I wanted to make some longer shots with this Mosin that doesn't have any sights on it. Out here's 70 yards approximately, so it definitely takes a little bit of getting used to shooting this thing without rear sights, but it's doable. All right, we made our hit on target. I think that one was a little bit low, but damn, that was close. There we go. All right, that one was a dead center shot. Okay, so sights are a government conspiracy. They're not important. They don't exist. No one can tell me otherwise. Man. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, or rather just gentlemen, I am certain of it. Or rather not gentlemen, more like deranged psychopaths who enjoy the content I make. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below. Having some sort of bolt-action, manually operated rifle and a full power cartridge, I think that would be a really, really good option. If you can manage to pull it off in whatever SHTF situation it is that you're doing. Now, if you're in the city and gathering game and whatnot is not going to be something that you're going to be doing regularly, then of course don't bring a Mosin with you. My goodness, don't decide to do that. Like, a Mosin does not make a very good CQB rifle, especially in modern times, and you do not want to be rocking a Mosin if you are in the city. But if you're in a situation like me, fantastic secondary rifle, handle everything that you do not want to use your defensive rifle on. And hey, maybe you come across somebody, maybe they are somebody that you know, or that you want to help or something like that, and maybe you trust them and they are completely unarmed. Guess what? Now they have some sort of rifle, which is better than no rifle. All right, folks, let me know what y'all's thoughts are down below. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more, because I do this stuff all the time. And if you check out the description down below, you're going to find a link to all sorts of different stuff, including an email sign-up list. Go ahead and go check that out. That being said, thanks for watching. I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.